Well, it was interesting because you're representing that a lot of the area, Rogers City,
Yes.
Posen, Hawks, what a challenge it has been on the farm families.
Oh,
Because, and I empathize with them because, they went first from sort of a tagging system that was tracking. And to be honest, your department did a good job, but there were problems with the policy development. And that's just, unfortunately, something we haven't had to deal with in 30 years. And there was a limited sort of knowledge on how this all, the way to communicate back and forth. And then technology advanced.
You're correct, and it's been so hard on some of them in this respect. They've gone through it. They had TB in their herd, so their herd was depopulated. The next thing you know, they try to rebuild, and then some people have been reinfected. Talk about traumatic for the people to have to deal with that. We know how traumatic that is, but if that is the case, then what do you do we have to continue ahead. There's not a good choice here. We can't stop. We just cannot say, we've done enough, we're going to stop TB testing. If that's the case, we'll be quarantined. Right. And then you run into the fact, too, if it became widespread among beef cattle, there's this human safety here that becomes paramount, too. We can't let contaminated product get on the market. So it is really a trick bag, and your compassion for your farmers is well recognized, and believe me, we share that. The people doing the testing share that. Everybody that's working on this as a department shares that. It's just we don't have a good alternative. We are dedicating personnel. I have one deputy in my department. She is spending half her time on that one issue.
Wow.
And we have all kinds of things that we have to deal with, but we are prioritizing. We've had 2 meetings a week since I've been there to try to figure out what we're doing with TB and how we can improve that. We all are also working very closely with the USDA.
Right.
They're a major player in this, and they're the boss on when it comes time to what we have to do to become TB free on it. It's not the Michigan Department of Ag. USDA tells us what we need to do on it, and then we have the responsibility to carry that out. And it's very costly, too. It's at a time when we're in budget crunch, it's very hard for us to go back and ask you in the legislature for a couple million more to expand our TB testing. But we had one herd test again, and I'm not even going to give you the county, but one herd test positive for it. That means we have to go back and look at where that farmer has sold all of his cattle over the last several years, test every one of those herds where that cattle has been sold from that one farm. So, and it might be a retest. And this is where your people that are in the farming community get discouraged because they just were tested. But now they have to be retested. But it's a vicious cycle, but it's there's no way to get around it.
Yeah. Moving on, and I wanted to talk a little bit, you touched on the ethanol. What are our prices up this fall in like what I would call traditional field crops? Are beans up, are corn up? And
well, part of Michigan got hit by a bad drought, and I know in northern lower Michigan we had areas where it was pretty dry. And so the crop was okay as far as the level of production goes, but it wasn't as good as it was supposed to be. Part of what's happening in the ethanol industry at the moment is they desperately need to have pumps, gas pumps, become UAL certified.
Really?
So that they are able to use more of that. And we're also looking at doing more of a corridor for E85 to be able to sell the product on the market. There's little things of that nature that are holding back the wide use of ethanol as much as what we would like it to be.
Well, what I had heard is that for the layman is the bushel price of beans is up because there's fewer acres being planted in beans, and corn prices are up because there's a high demand for ethanol.
That's correct, and the farmers are better at making a calculation than I am, certainly on this. And what they will do going into next year is they're going to make their decisions. That's part of why technology and everything else has become so important for agriculture, because they really study carefully what they want to do with their crops, and then I divert to them. They know best what to do. The market right now is fairly good. I mean, people are getting a fairly good price for their crops, for both soybeans and for corn.
And we also in a lot of areas have a large potato growing. Are you seeing any unique things happening in the potato industry at all? Or?
It's holding its own. The potato industry hit a little bit of a downturn for a period of years, but now it's really coming back strong. And I'm going to be talking to their industry in Grand Rapids. I believe it's later this month or in the beginning of November. And I'll come away from that meeting, that day-long deal with the potato industry, a little more knowledgeable about it. But right now, they are doing their own. They're enthused. They're getting a decent price now too. Part of what our problem was years ago with that was there was quite a flood of Canadian potatoes coming on market, and that was softening our domestic market, but it'll improve.
It's just as interesting because you've got sort of the TB situation we talked about over in Rogers City, but 30 miles south you've got that large potato operation in Posen. And then over in sort of the Mansalona area, you've got the whole Kitchen family and several other producers that have that large sector there along the 131 corridor that's doing a lot of potatoes. And so that's the thing that's been amazing to me is the diversity of agricultural products, because you have maple syrup in the UP, you've got the great hay operations in Rudyard and Pickford, and I mean it's very diverse.
You've hit it on the head. That's what's so interesting about working in the ag department is it's very diverse.
Have you had the opportunity to sample any of the micro distilleries that have opened up? There's, I know, in the greater Traverse City area, there's a company that's doing processing for a micro distillery, and they're doing a rye, and they're doing a vodka. And they're using all Michigan-made products, which is another one of those, you always talked a little bit about the wineries. But this is another really diverse product that is using all Michigan ingredients for production of a good vodka and a good rye.
Right. I have not, but that's breaking news for you right now. I don't drink at all.
Oh, okay.
So therefore,
yeah.
And
that's fine.
Just a personal decision, but I haven't sampled any of it, but.
But I've heard great reviews on that, and that's when you start talking about value added, similar to what you were talking about with the winery industry, it's going to be interesting to sort of see, what other sorts of niche businesses develop, because take a look at what they're doing in the cherry industry, what they're doing in the apple industry on processing, and it's just absolutely amazing to sort of see the diversity of the products that are out there, and the entrepreneurs that are doing things. I always serve Michigan apples from Elk Rapids on the Senate floor just to get the product. So, Don, I really appreciate your time today. It's been a privilege having you as part of our show, and I wish you well in your new endeavors. You're doing a great job. Well, thank you, Senator. And I just want to say on behalf of our department, we thank you for all your efforts here. You've been a real partner for agriculture, and we have our allies in the Michigan agriculture, and we've always in the Michigan legislature, and we look upon you as one of those allies. Thank you very much. Well, this concludes another edition of the Northern Michigan Update. If you need to get a hold of our office, you can look at the number listed below, or email us at senjallen, that's all one word, at senate.michigan.gov. Thank you very much.